Okay, this video ends all the gatekeeping and the mystery around face pulling because I am done with getting threats for a lawsuit anytime that I try to share any of this with you for free. So now I will expose absolutely everything and make a full face pulling guide because I think we all deserve forward growth, resolving the asymmetry and just getting better facial harmony for free. And in case you're already doing thumb pulling, face pulling is a lot different, but it works together with thumb pulling and it will speed up the results that you're getting from thumb pulling. The only reason why thumb pulling is maybe more popular or known is because face pulling has been so effective that people literally try to gatekeep it because it showed its effect in fixing facial asymmetry, underdevelopment, improving facial harmony, and all of that simultaneously, right? It's so powerful that it even affects your health, makes your skin and bones being properly nurtured, which then obviously improves your health tremendously. So if you start doing it, you'll quite literally be the best version of yourself, not only in terms of looks, but also in terms of health, and you will not have to pay anyone to achieve that. Before we start, I just want to say that I have masters in biology, so everything that I want to share with you is either scientifically approved or has underlying scientific principle. I did a lot of research in my private time, like research on osteopathy, myofunctional therapy, posture restoration, all of that, and I had a pretty drastic transformation myself from applying everything that I'm gonna show to you. I improved my asymmetry, managed to grow my face forward all at the age of 25, so it's possible even if you're adult. But we don't see a lot of cases of adult transformations because, again, this information has been gatekept for so long. I think it's really time for us to spread this word, to spread this information and start using it to improve our looks and health. So if you watched any of my videos, you know that I made a couple of guides on thumb pulling, asymmetry, and all of that, but I never shared entire face pulling routine for expansion, forward growth, and resolving the asymmetry simultaneously. And main reason was because I truly believed it was a discovery of one individual who claimed ownership over that, but then the more I researched about it, the more I realized it's not a case at all. And everything that I want to share with you today, I literally found in books and studies, and you are absolutely free to use it all. Sorry, I had to change the lighting because it was getting crazy. But before we start with the routine, it's essential for you to understand how face pulling was even invented. So I'm going to explain the background of face pulling and where it actually started because it's a very interesting story. The idea of face pulling basically comes from people noticing how forces had the ability to change the shape of the face over time. And that observation, ironically, started in orthodontistry because they were using an appliance called headgear and it was used to pull the jaws backwards to make them align better. For example, if someone would have overbite, they would pull the maxilla backwards, or if someone had an underbite, they would pull the mandible backwards. So the jaws would be properly aligned again. But after the treatment, people often ended up with very narrow airways, and they would also notice how their facial attractiveness would decline. So people naturally started wondering, what if we pull the bones forward instead of backwards? Like, that was very revolutionary idea, and this idea today is practiced in orthotropics, which teaches that pressure on the upper palate can guide the face growth forward. And orthotropics did achieve wonderful results using this principle. They truly managed to guide the facial growth forward, but only in kids. So that brings a question, what to do in cases when face stops growing and one's facial development is done? And that's what I was trying to figure out as well. So I found scientific studies researching this exact topic, and those researchers concluded that even when we are adults, our bones still keep the bone plasticity and our body is wired to self-correct when a proper stimulus is being applied. So remember that this is literally the premise of face pulling. So even if you are underdeveloped, your bones are still able to move forward because they're connected to other bones through flexible joints, which are called sutures. And each time that your heart beats and each time that you inhale, cerebrospinal fluid is being sent in those sutures, in those spaces between bones, and that way your bones are being nurtured and gently separated all the time. This is a very small moment, but it's happening all the time, and it's called primary respiratory mechanism. So we can consider that as bones gently separating and breathing all the time. Now, face pulling and thumb pulling use and exaggerate this principle by applying additional gentle pressure to the bones of the face, gently separating them further, guiding them forward and into a more symmetrical position. So the same process of creating new bone cells and moving the jaws forward that's being initiated in orthotropics while treating kids is now being initiated in adults by applying direct pressure that expands the palate, moves the face forward and improves the symmetry. There are two major ways we can achieve that. Intraorally, so applying pressure on the maxilla inside the mouth, that's called tongue pulling. What's essentially accomplished with tongue pulling is expansion of the palate, forward growth of the palate, and raising and expanding cheekbones. Face pulling, on the other hand, involves manipulating bones outside of the mouth, more specifically doing traction or connected bones, which then initiates symmetrical bone realignment and more forward growth. And in case face pulling still doesn't make sense to you, it's literally only because you're not familiar with the biomechanical principle, which states that loosening up bones by relaxing surrounding sutures around that bone, right, it makes bones rotate, realign, and take their optimal position in a skull. So it's literally like you're doing a fabric reset, which can obviously transform your entire life. Like, not only will drastically improve the way that you look, but you will start to breathe and sleep better. Your skin and bones will get more nutrients, and you will quite literally glow up. I'm gonna show you each technique and the entire face pulling routine step by step, so make sure to follow along and remember as much techniques as possible so you can do it on your own every single day. First and the most important step of this routine is relaxing the palate and suture in the middle of the palate. In case you are underdeveloped or you had braces or any other orthodontic treatment, really chances are that your palate and suture is now really hardened, which may be stopping you from getting any progress with mewing and face pulling or tongue pulling. So if the palate and suture is locked up, cranial bones will struggle to move, and also on the contrary, when we relax the palate and suture, everything will move much faster and you will glow up literally in a few weeks. There are two techniques that we use to unlock the palate and suture. So you can apply upwards pressure on the first palate and suture and massage it in circular motion for 30 seconds. Then move on to the next point and repeat the same until you reach the point between your premolars. This by itself is a very effective technique, and it will expand your palate and bring it forward, especially if you're struggling with a long filch room or deep bite, because this technique brings the premaxilla upwards, which shortens the mid-face and makes it look more lifted. But if you want to speed up the process of expansion further, you can place thumbs on the first palate and suture right behind your teeth. And now apply upwards pressure and slide your thumbs laterally while still holding the upwards pressure. So now you're applying upwards and lateral pressure, right? And you should hold like that for 15 seconds. This hold is very important because it puts stress on the suture, and that stress is what triggers the process of creating new bone cells, which then makes the palate wider. By the way, very key note, none of the pressure should be on your teeth, okay? So keep that in mind. Okay, so once you relax the first point, you switch on to the next point and pull laterally again. This will feel very relaxing for some of you, especially if you had braces or retainers, since they are doing literally the opposite of what you're doing right now. They just tighten the entire suture. You can now switch to the next point and pull laterally again. Just make sure you pause for a few seconds each time. And this pause can vary, like you can pause for 3 seconds, 10 seconds, or 15 seconds, again, depending on how tight your suture is or how narrow the palate is. I usually do a shorter pause because I've been doing it for a year now, but if you just started, the longer you hold, the better. But I would say, just to be on a safe side, not to do it like for longer than 15 seconds. Once the most important suture is relaxed, now you're ready for the face pulling routine. So we are focusing on relaxing each suture on the face that connects the maxilla with the surrounding bones. Think about it like this. If your maxilla is loosened up, if it's loose, it can move forward more easily, and it frees all the bones so they can rotate as well and take the optimal position so the asymmetry can finally resolve. What I want you to do first is place your finger on your nasal bone under the suture, hold it firmly, and now with your finger placed above the suture, you pull that side of the frontal bone up. You breathe in and release, and now repeat that a couple of times basically. So you should not pull the lower finger down, just pull the finger above the suture up. It will feel relaxing, and very soon you will notice your skin and eyelashes, for example, being much healthier. Like, you will literally have that healthy glow. So now you can repeat the same on the other side. So one finger under the suture and you pull up with another finger. By the way, you can really use whatever finger you prefer. I just do it with my index fingers because I feel like I have the most control over the pressure that I apply on the bones with those fingers. You can do the same amount of repetitions, but you should also listen to your body, and if you feel like one side is more stiff, then you can do more repetitions on that side. Just make sure you're not randomly pulling and your finger placement is actually correct. This is also crucial for relaxing the neck suture, which is frontal zygomatic suture, and to relax it, we pretty much follow the same protocol. So firstly, locate the suture. It's placed parallel to the corner of the eye. Now place the finger beneath the suture and hold it firmly, and with another finger above the suture, you pull up. Hold the stretch while you're breathing and then gently release, and just repeat a couple of times. This is also very beneficial for negative canthal tilt because you're essentially lifting the outer corners. Just make sure that you're doing this technique gently, okay? Because this area is sensitive, there's a lot of nerves in there, so we just wanna be careful, okay? Now you can switch to the other side and do the same. And in case you have one eye with a more negative canthal tilt, you can do more repetitions on that side, or you can hold each stretch for a few seconds longer, okay? But again, don't compensate by applying additional pressure because in this area that is not safe and you may damage it, so just be smart. Once you relax this upper part of the maxilla, now we're ready for probably the most important part of the routine, and that's relaxing the suture that connects the maxilla with the zygomatic bone. So you'll be able to feel a thinner bone in this area, and that's your zygomatic bone. So place one finger here and another finger lower on your cheek and pull to opposite sides. That directly pushes the maxilla forward without actually damaging your structure. But now we just wanna relax this suture, okay? Nothing else. This suture is usually a bit harder to provide immediate relaxation. It might feel like you're not doing anything, but just give it a few days, okay? Just be consistent. Sutures usually need to be relaxed consistently. Now you can switch to the other side and do pretty much the same. And in case your cheekbones are asymmetrical, so one side is more forward, one side is set back, you can still do this technique just to relax the maxilla, right? But I will film a specific technique for centering the maxilla, which can work great with this routine. But even just doing this will improve the symmetry significantly, right? Because your bones will realign and take their optimal position. Okay, so in order to pull the maxilla even further forward, now we want to relax the sphenoid bone. This is extremely important. I can't even stress how crucial sphenoid placement is for the under eye support and overall forward growth. It often stops the maxilla from moving forward, but no one talks about the role of the sphenoid because it's a bit harder bone to manipulate, but we found a safe way to do it. So what we want to do first is relax this suture behind the eye. That's kind of a hidden suture, but it's possible to relax it with the right finger placement. And what I want you to do now is place one finger on this part of the eye, another finger on your temple, and just pull them to opposite sides. You should be gentle again because this area has a lot of nerves. It's a sensitive area that doesn't need a lot of force to move, okay? So have that in mind. Don't apply a lot of pressure on the temples in any technique, basically. Also, you might notice your first results after a few days, probably after 3 days. You will notice that you look better, but at the same time, you will not be able to pinpoint what exactly looks better. But just continue doing it, okay? And eventually results will become apparent on pictures as well. Okay, we can switch to the other side. Again, make sure you're being gentle. You might feel a pressure changing in your nose or just one side opening up. All those are good signs, but in case you do not feel it, it's okay. You do not have to apply a lot of pressure, okay? It's not gonna be the same for everyone. And the change now is mostly happening on a micro level. Now we are ready to relax the suture between the sphenoid and the frontal bone. You can basically locate it by following your eyebrow line and gently pulling to opposite sides. It might feel like you're not doing anything, but have in mind sphenoid is placed literally in the middle of the skull, and this is the only way to approach it from the outside. So even though you do not feel it moving, sphenoid reacts to pressure easily, okay? You can repeat now the same on the other side. I usually change the pressure for those techniques. So for the rest of the techniques, it's around 4 or 5 out of 10. But when I'm doing techniques involving sphenoid, it's probably 3 out of 10 at most. It's really something you will figure out on your own, but just never apply the absolute strongest pressure that you can, okay? Remember that you're working with facial bones and some of them are quite delicate. You can also adjust repetitions here based on how severely recessed your face is, but I would much rather you do this a couple of times a day, let's say 3 times a day, rather than 50 repetitions at once. So 5 to 10 repetitions will be more than enough in one cycle. Just always make sure that you pause for one breath while pulling, okay? Don't do it just to do it, do it mindfully. I mean, either way it would work, right? But it's about doing it the safe way. Okay, so now that we relax the maxilla, we are ready for the main part of the routine, which is pulling the maxilla forward. So you should lay your thumbs over your cheekbones and pull the entire maxilla forward, just letting the weight of your skull pull it forward. And most of you will feel your airways open up, which is a good sign, but don't apply a lot of pressure, okay? Like 5 or 6 out of 10 will do it. That's more than enough. Personally, this technique feels very relaxing, so in case you're in pain or it doesn't feel good, you're probably not doing it correctly, okay? So just double check on the finger placement or the pressure that you're applying. Also, I like to do it a few minutes a day, and this is entirely technique that I came up with, but it's still based on the same principles like all the previous techniques. Now the best possible way to end this routine, and that's by creating a forward impulse that's gonna travel and continue to pull the maxilla forward. There are a bunch of forward thumb pulling techniques. Some of them are dangerous, and what I found to work best is applying upwards pressure in the middle of the palate and pulling forward, while at the same time you make a hook with your finger and pull the lower jaw forward, all at the same time, okay? This way the force is distributed pretty evenly, so the risk of damage is significantly lower, especially if you do it in a proper position, like leaning forward and resting your elbows on something. By the way, this same position is appropriate for all the face pulling techniques as well. And what's very important for this technique is that you always apply more pressure on the maxilla than on the mandible, okay? We always want to keep the maxilla in front of the mandible, otherwise it affects the aesthetics of the face negatively. Like you can apply, let's say 6 out of 10 pressure on the maxilla and 3 or 4 out of 10 on the mandible. Just make sure you do it in a smart way, okay? Don't go crazy, don't damage your jaws, stay within the natural range of motion. By the way, in case you're worried, this routine is effective at any age. Like if you're over 30, 40, 50, it will work. But the older you are, the more consistent you will have to be to get the momentum started, and then you can slow it down while still getting crazy results, okay? It's like just maintaining that momentum. So no worries, okay? This works at pretty much any age, male, female, doesn't matter. It worked for me, and I started when I was 25. But I did more than just this, even though this was a big part of my routine, and I feel like it was responsible for most of my progress. It's the most effective way to start getting results, at least as soon as possible, and just take things seriously, okay? Because this is, again, a realistic routine that you can do at least once a day, optimally a couple of times a day. But just like with everything else in life, you have to actually do it to get the results. You need to leverage things the right way, you need to do techniques correctly, work on your palate, work on your posture, and have a full circle routine that will improve not only your looks but health and just the overall quality of your life. And my life is, for example, a testimony of that, because I started from the bottom. Like, I experimented with all of this and found what's actually effective and what's just a scam that wastes your time, basically. So if you continue to follow me and apply what I'm sharing, you can skip all the time that I wasted and you can get your results much faster. And in terms of what time in a day you should practice, I would say do it at least in the morning and evening, but you can do it up to 5 times a day, again, depending on how fast results you want. But if you're doing it once a day or just maintaining your results, then I would say that it's optimal to do it right before you go to bed, just because your body will regenerate during the night and you will be completely relaxed, which is beneficial for the biomechanics. The most important thing now is that you have this information, you have no more excuses, so just stop putting it off and start actually doing it. This doesn't take that much time, like this takes no equipment, no investment, so you literally have no excuse not to do it, especially with the results I and other people got. Like, you have absolutely everything that you need, like the information, motivation, and if you desire even a community that's on the same journey or on the same path. Like, we are all living proofs that it's possible to change, that it's possible to completely transform yourself into a person that you desire and deserve to be. So in case you're struggling maybe with motivation or finding the right routine for you, you can join my community where we go into all of this in much greater details. But again, if you're not willing to actually do it, to actually take action, then nothing will change. It's literally your mindset. Like, are you willing to invest the time and the energy towards being a person that you deserve to be? And with that obviously comes respect, more opportunities, you know, just like a completely different social life. Like, if you're healthier, if you're better looking, you will have more confidence, and that will reflect on every single aspect of your life. It happened to me. So I know how both sides of life feel, and I desire for everyone to live life with their full potential. And when you've been on the other side, you appreciate this so much more. So just stay on track, okay? And just believe that it's possible and that you deserve it, because then you will take action. Like, if you truly believe that you deserve it, you will take the action that will turn that desire into your reality. It happened to me, it happened to many people, so if we did it, you absolutely can as well. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.